This is a good example here of what a forest looks like if it has been managed prior to the fire, and a forest that has never been managed at all. The stuff that we're looking at with all the fuel on the ground here is federal land. The U.S. Forest Service owns this, or we own it, I guess. Just on the other side is private ground that was logged before the fire back in the 80s, and they thinned it out, did a really good job of selecting good trees to leave. And when the fire hit this, it went to the ground, and it was just a ground fire. All it did was clean the fuel up off the ground. So if I turn around here, you'll get a look at what the difference between the Forest Service and the private ground that was managed. This is Forest Service ground right straight ahead of us, and there's a fence right there that separates it. All this fuel on the ground here, this has never been managed. If they had done the same prescription as done on the private ground, you would have the same results as what's on the private ground. We got hundreds of thousands of acres, just like what we're looking at here. We're now going to take you down on the ground to introduce you to our consulting forester, Pat Cannell, and he's going to give you the ground tour, and you'll be able to see the difference of what good forest management is versus no management.
Hi, my name's Pat Cannell. I'm a certified forestry consultant, working as Timberland Forestry Services for R&R Conner. You've just seen all of this from air in Ryan's helicopter. Now we're going to look at it up close here on the ground. On our right, we see all of the stuff of a forest that had not been thinned and not opened up the canopy. In other words, where all of the branches are, so that they were not all clustered together. On our left, you can see an open, wide-spaced forest that there's quite a few feet between each tree, and you also notice that there's even some char on those bottom of those trees. Now when the fire came, it came up from the bottom on this slope and hit both the private ground and the National Forest ground exactly at the same time. The intensity of the fire was the same, the wind was the same, the weather was the same. But the results of that fire was dramatically different on private ground because of the thinning. It did not kill a tree. They're still standing because the fire was on the ground and it came through in a flash fire condition very fast. Whereas on the National Forest here, they had so much undergrowth that the fire came in, it lingered just like in a campfire and stayed there, and it got hot. And as it got hot on the ground, it didn't go quite as fast through the area, and all of that heat grew to such intensity that it killed the exact same species of tree, the ponderosa pine that's native here. Now if you think what we've just been looking at is bad, I'm going to take you up the road and show you a site that is ripe for a real environmental disaster of a fire. I think that if we manage the woods, we can do a pretty fair job of replicating some of the impacts of fire without having the negative impacts of having a big fire. You can do nothing in the woods without having an impact. And you have to balance all of the issues that you're dealing with and say, just letting it be natural as though mankind was not here, that is not an option for forestry. What is an option is that we sit and look at the hillside, and maybe we have had a fire, maybe we've had an insect infestation, we got a bunch of dead trees. We can sit there and analyze what's the best way to utilize that wood, not waste it, harvest it, get the area regenerated and replanted, and then we come out with a decision, and guys like Ryan bring in a crew of some of the best people that I've ever known in my life. They're a good bunch of guys, and they're the salt of the earth type of people that made this country of ours as strong as it is. I'm singing to the choir maybe, I'm a forester, but I'd rather see homes built out of wood than out of steel or aluminum or anything like that, because every tree that's cut that's used for building products or for paper or anything else, another one can grow there. it's a renewable resource naturally. Remember, the term ecology comes from Greek, of the study of a house. It's a holistic approach to management of everything around us. Well, you can't realistically manage the national forests, the woods, with a presumption of we need to manage it without mankind, because man is a significant participant in the natural order of things nowadays. We're out here in part of the area that got burnt, and we've had a thunderstorm come in, and we're getting a little bit of rain right now. That's good. But the thunderstorm is what caused the fire originally in 2000. And what's going to happen now is you're starting to see all of this dead timber from the fire started to lose because of the dead roots. They're starting to topple over, just like this one right next to me. As they all concentrate and fall down on the floor of the forest, the next lightning storm, when it gets good and dry instead of this rain that we're in, is going to start another fire, but all of the fuel is going to be down here on the ground, and the fuel will carry along the ground, and the heat will kill whether it's brush or trees that have regenerated after the first fire. That's why a stand replacement fire takes multiple fires to occur, taking the ground out of production, damaging the ground, the stream course that I'm standing in, developing sediment into the stream, killing wildlife, and the regeneration like you see all around here, the Doug fir and the pine. All of these trees, as they have burnt in the original fire, and here's another strike. That's Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is not always friendly and happy. She can get pretty mad, and she can do things like starting fires and killing wildlife and causing big problems for us that we generally don't want.